Japanese scary stories. Kurage. A man fishing a corpse. It was one day in middle school. That day, I invited a friend from the morning to go fishing in the sea. It was the Pacific Ocean when I crossed one mountain from the city where I lived at that time, so when I was a kid I used to go out by bicycle for an hour and a half one way. When I was in elementary school, I used to swim exclusively, but when I became a junior high school student, I learned fishing. When I went to Jizabashi, which is the meeting place in the center of the city, my friend was already waiting at the bridge. He is a jellyfish. Of course, it is not a genuine cnidarian that floats in the sea, nor is it its real name. Kurage is the nickname given to him. I was addicted to the occult when I was in junior high school, but that was the reason. Kurage is a so-called self-proclaimed, visible human. Everything from the day I saw the fluffy floating in the bath at home. He seems to be able to see things that ordinary people can never see. Because I'm sick, he always said. However, when I went to a place with such spiritual with Kurage, sometimes I could see the same thing as him, though it was faint. The disease that Kurage says infects others. Well, I made you wait. Would you like to go? As I say, Kurage silently straddled his bicycle. He doesn't have a fishing rod. He doesn't fish. I haven't heard the reason. I said, come, just look at it. There is a reason to invite the jellyfish. That's because there was a strange rumor in the place I was about to go. According to him, there is a man fishing a corpse in a nearby fishing village. It's a so-called urban legend. Mountain road by bicycle. I stubbornly climbed the gravel road without touching the ground. Kurage was slowly following him from behind, pushing his bicycle. Suddenly, when I crossed the pass, the blue sea and sky spread out below his eyes. The sky with pure white clouds is clear, and there is no wind. The smell of the tide is scattered around. As he sweated up, he descended at a blazing speed, and the headwind cooled his body. A breakwater protruding from a small port into the sea. With our bike on the side of a nearby pine forest, we walked down a concrete road to the tip. Is the breakwater a place with a total length of 50 to 60 meters? On the way, it is broken into a L character. When I arrived at the dead end of the breakwater, I sat there and started making gimmicks. The waves are calm, and if you listen carefully, you can hear the sound of chap-chap and small waves hitting the breakwater. Suddenly, when I looked next to him, Kurage was sitting on the edge of the breakwater and throwing his legs over the sea. He is vaguely looking into the distance. What are you looking at? I tried to ask that and stopped. I'm sure I won't see anything. Oh, how much? Have you heard of a man fishing a corpse? Kurage tilted his head while looking toward the sea. The story of a man fishing for sea bream? No. The story of a man fishing a corpse. Oh. Corpse. Yeah, I know. You mean the old man at the port here? I struck my tongue. Did you know uninteresting? Put bait on the tip of the needle and throw it as it is without sprinkling it. I threw it properly while sitting, so I didn't fly much. A red float sticks out to the surface of the sea right there. It is said that the man fishing the corpse was also at the tip of the breakwater, hanging fishing line all day long instead of using a wooden fishing tackle box as a chair. However, was he not good at fishing, or was he not willing to fish in the first place? Rumor has it that the man was always blank. It's called Michi-san. Kurage opens his mouth. I looked at him. Michi-san? Ah, is that the name of the man who catches the corpse? Yes. I used to be entrusted to a relative's house around here, and at that time I became friends with Misachi-san. I talked a lot. I was also taught fishing. I was inwardly surprised. Do you know, but that's interesting. I've been here for about 3 months, but during that time I caught one. Perhaps because of the current of the tide, many drifting objects drift to the harbor here, and the beaches in the vicinity. Mostly it's just garbage, but some people who drowned offshore and died may come back on the tide. Michi, a man who catches corpses, caught dozens of dozemen. When a human is distressed in the sea and dies, it is rare for him to return with satisfaction. There are many bodies that cannot be identified by their faces because they are poked by small seafood. In many cases, putrefactive gas accumulates in the body and swells, and the body surface is white and collapses when touched. But many of the people caught by Michi-san had beautiful faces and left hands and feet. Then Kurage turned to me and said, "It's strange." I knew it because it was a rumor, but I didn't remember hearing it from that point onward. "Do you know the end of Michi-san?" Asked by the sword, I shook my head. The only rumors about a corpse fishing man were that old men in the harbor often fished corpses. There were no rumors about the man's ending, and I didn't even know he was dead. Michi-san. I fell into the sea. In the middle of fishing. It's a good story. It is said that the last man who caught many corpses was drowning. But why isn't such an interesting story in the rumors? No, it's bad to say it's interesting. I think it was because it was dark in the evening. There was no one around. I looked at the jellyfish. Maybe he had a strange look on his face. "Oh, I'm sorry." Kurage apologized for some reason. "Because I caught Michi-san." I couldn't react for a while. Before dinner that day, Kurage suddenly went to the tip of the breakwater. However, Michi-san wasn't there, and only the rod that was hung up was left. I thought I had forgotten and went home, and when Kurage casually lifted it, it seems that Michi-san was caught on the tip of the thread. Imagine it was surreal, easily past the eerie. "Oh, I'm running." I returned to my voice. The response is weak, but it is certainly good. Atari. But then I suddenly thought, is it really a fish at the end of this thread? When I rolled it up slowly, only the needle was left cleanly there. It looks like it was just a fish. At the same time as I was relieved, I was frightened by such a thing and became somewhat foolish. "I don't fish." Kurage muttered next to me. "Because it was Michi-san who taught me fishing." I whistled and pretended not to hear. Then he stood up and threw the second bait again at the horizon.